Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So, 3 days ago, I posted a poll. What's your biggest obstacle in life? And 92 of you voted, and 59% of you voted the lack of money. So that's like the most popular response. And then 28% of you wrote or voted in the lack of knowledge, and then 13% of you voted in the lack of support. Now, I'm going to tell you what's funny. Even though a lot of you may have money issues, that's actually not your biggest obstacle. Because in order for us to make money, so even though lack of money is a serious problem, you don't solve it by focusing on money, believe it or not. And so I don't know if you ever heard the Tony Robbins saying where he's like, you got to stop focusing on the results because if you focus on the results, you're never going to get it. You got to focus on the process in order to get the results. And the same thing with money. I, in my life, have never gotten money because I focused way too much on it, right? The thing that brought me money is the foundational aspects, which is how do I help people and how do I gain the knowledge to help people, right? And so what's kind of funny or ironic is that even though your biggest obstacle is lack of money, if you focus on that, you're not going to get money, right? So what you have to do is focus on building relationships. So lack of support comes from lacking relationships and lacking community, and also gaining the knowledge that you need in order to help that community, right? So I'm just going to give you an easy example of how I do this with this YouTube channel. So yesterday, YouTube paid me about 400, I think $50, right? It just popped up into my bank account. Now, $450 from YouTube is pretty sweet because all I do is just talk and um, money magically appears in my bank account. And I always kind of make this kind of semi joke where it's like, hey, I know where my money comes from, but I kind of don't. Like it just magically appears, right? I magically spoke that money into existence, which is technically not true. But why am I making that money on YouTube and all the other things that I'm doing, even including the rental? Is my focus on making money or is it focused on building a community and helping people? Right. And so with this YouTube channel, I've never had this notion of like, I must make $1,000 by the end of like 2 or 3 months, right? I must get like 20,000 subscribers within 3 weeks or something like that. I never had that thought enter in my mind. The only reason I built this YouTube channel is because I got sick and frustrated of trying to help people and nobody wanted my help. It's a very frustrating an ironic place to be where like let's say you're like me and you're mortgage free in 2 years and 9 months and you're trying to teach the people that you know and most people are giving you blank stares and are not receptive. And so the main reason that I created this YouTube channel is because my main focus in life was that I want to help others, right? This is why you don't see me like hardcore sales funneling all of you because to be honest, I don't care if I need your money, but I know in the back of my mind if I keep doing this and building a community that the money will come into my pocket. I just don't know when, but I know it's going to come into my pocket. And the fact that I'm already making $400 a month without selling any products, like it's almost like pure profit, is pretty it's pretty awesome, but I just never focus on it. And I know that there are some of you where it's like, well, if I had an extra $400 in my pocket, that could be life changing. I'm not that out of touch like Dave Ramsey. Remember, like in the early 2020s, where it's like, if you need an extra, I don't know, like $600 in your life or something like that, you were already screwed because he was going against that stimulus, which I do agree with, right? I don't agree with the stimulus, but that's for, that's for another video. But he was like, just like, if you need another $600 in your pocket, you're already screwed or something like that, right? But who wouldn't want an extra $400? But where did that $400 come from? Is it because I was so obsessed with making the $400 on YouTube and my main goal was to make money on YouTube? No, it actually just came from that uh, building that knowledge, in this case it'd be velocity banking, to help people and building a community, right? So if you focus on the foundation, which is building a community, and there's a saying that community creates commerce, right? I don't know if you heard that one, but that's a really good saying that if you build a community, that community will create commerce and the money will eventually come into your pocket. I don't know if you heard that. That was by Troy Dunn, the guy who did the, I forgot what it was called, the Finding Your Adopted Parents show. I forgot what that one was called. But now you also have to have the knowledge too. So the way that I help people is making sure that I have the knowledge and I'm comfortable, let's say, evangelizing that knowledge to the people who are seeking it. But the biggest obstacle I had in my life is that I couldn't find enough people to help. And that's what you have to think of yourself as someone who's going to make money. You have to think of business in general is very similar to evangelism, right? Evangelism itself is just essentially marketing for God. So if you're doing, any sort of business, you marketing your products and services almost just like a form of evangelism, and you really have to believe that you're going to help the people that you're selling to, and eventually the money will come. This is true of everything that I do. Like, in order for money to come in my pocket, I feel like I have to help and serve them. And so if I think that if I have, for example, a lack of money today, the last thing I'm going to focus on is bringing is just focusing on the money itself, right? I need to work on building the foundation, right? We need to do things in the right order of operations, right? In the velocity banking videos, I always talk about how we have to think about the debt payoff order, because the debt payoff order is the difference between saving $100,000 in interest. If we pay off the debt in the wrong order, we could potentially overpay $100,000 of interest. And we got to do what Tony Robbins says, right? Or I think it's great what he says, which is if you want the results, which is more money, you got to focus on the process. And very few people focus on the process. And I feel like back in the day, people knew this intuitively, right? Back in the day, people weren't so focused on money. What were they focused on? They were focused on building, it was kind of like the inverse of this. Most people didn't go to college back in the day. It was kind of like only reserved for the elite. And so we focus way too much on money and way too much on, I wouldn't even say knowledge, I would just say like going to college, like superficial education, right? But if we focus on real knowledge and building a real community, right? Building a community, culture, possibly a cult, wink wink, because I love using that word as a plausible deniable cult leader in YouTube. We're gonna bring in that money, right? And that's what you have to focus on. Okay, back in the day, 100 years ago, people weren't so individualistic. I mean, think about how many kids people cranked out back in the day because they had to work in the farms in rural America because most people did not live in cities, right? That's why they cranked out so many kids, and that's why summertime was was when you had the vacation because the kids had to work in the farms, right? So we used to think about building communities, families, support systems, and now that's just kind of off people's radars and people wonder why they're struggling. People are way too individualistic for their own good, like they are, and then wonder why they're struggling. They're struggling because they don't understand in order for money to come into your pocket, you have to build a community, right? There's an actual human being at the other end of the transaction who's going to decide, am I going to swipe my credit card with you or not? And the reason why they will swipe your credit card is they truly believe that your product or service will help them. And if they don't, they won't swipe. That's why money's not going to come in your pocket, right? And so that's really why I say in this video that money is not the biggest obstacle in your life, even if though you believe it is, because the reason why you have a lack of money is because you lack knowledge and support. You lack knowledge and community. Again, think of yourself as an evangelist, right? Every business, in order to succeed, has to have marketing and sales. And so, if you're not willing to evangelize and help people in their situation, how are they going to swipe out their credit card and be happy to do so for you? They won't. And that's why money's not coming into your pocket, right? Remember, don't focus on the results, focus on the process. Tony Robbins said that, I think. Although, to be honest, I've never actually watched any of Tony's content. It's always like secondhand, like one YouTuber says Tony Robbins says this, and another YouTuber says Tony Robbins said that, and I've never watched actually Tony Robbins speak about anything. It's always his proteges who talk about what Tony said. So I'm getting like third hand knowledge about this topic. Okay, so yeah, that's it for today. So just kind of be aware that if you say that lack of money is your biggest obstacle in life, then you have to really say that these are more. of a bigger obstacle because you lack these in order to make these, right? Okay, well, that's it for today. It's Korean Atlanta mentorship. So just hopefully, I don't know if it's motivational. Maybe it is. Motivational Friday video. So have a great day, everybody, and we'll speak next time.